David Michaels, a 45-year-old businessman from California, was no stranger to the fast-paced world of corporate success. Ambitious, driven, and self-reliant, he had little time for faith or spirituality. His life was a whirlwind of meetings, deadlines, and the endless chase for material success. Yet, beneath his achievements, David often felt an emptiness he couldn't explain, a void he tried to fill with wealth and recognition. That emptiness came into sharp focus on a cold Thursday afternoon. While wrapping up an important presentation, David suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. The world around him blurred, and within moments, he collapsed to the floor. Paramedics arrived quickly, but his heart had already stopped. As his physical body lay lifeless, David felt an unfamiliar sensation, weightlessness. He found himself hovering above the scene, watching the paramedics work tirelessly to revive him. But his attention was soon drawn to a brilliant, otherworldly light that seemed to call to him. Reluctantly, he turned away from the chaos below and moved toward the light. The encounter beyond death. David found himself standing in a vast, indescribably beautiful place. The air felt alive with peace, and the colors around him seemed more vibrant than anything he had ever seen on earth. A warm presence enveloped him, and when he looked ahead, he saw a figure approaching, a man clothed in radiant white, with eyes that seemed to hold the depth of eternity. It was Jesus. David's knees buckled as he fell to the ground, overwhelmed by the sheer majesty of the Lord. Yet, instead of fear, he felt an all-consuming love, unconditional, pure, and healing. Jesus reached out, gently lifting him to his feet. David, Jesus spoke, his voice both commanding and comforting. You have been searching for purpose in all the wrong places. I want to show you the truth about your life and what lies ahead. Visions of heaven. Jesus extended his hand, and suddenly, scenes of David's life began to unfold before him. He saw moments he had long forgotten, times he had hurt others with his ambition or neglected his family in pursuit of success. Each memory pierced his heart, but Jesus never condemned him. Instead, he spoke with compassion, helping David understand the ripple effect of his actions. Then, the vision shifted. David was shown what he called a glimpse of heaven. He saw countless souls, radiant and joyous, praising God in perfect harmony. There were magnificent landscapes, lush fields, crystal clear rivers, and a golden city that glowed with divine light. This is what I have prepared for those who love me, Jesus said, his eyes filled with hope. But your time has not yet come. You must return and live differently. Use the gifts I have given you to bring love, kindness, and faith to others. A second chance. Before David could respond, he felt himself being pulled back. The brilliant light faded, and he awoke to the sound of beeping monitors and the relieved voices of doctors. He was alive. The experience left David profoundly changed. Once a man driven by ambition, he now felt an unshakable calling to live a life of purpose and faith. David began sharing his story, hoping to inspire others to seek God and find the peace he had encountered in those brief moments beyond death. To this day, David continues to reflect on the vision of heaven and the overwhelming love of Jesus. His message is simple yet powerful. Life is fleeting, but eternity is real. Seek Him while there's still time. What would you do if you were given a second chance like David? Let his testimony remind us all to cherish our time and live with an eternal perspective. David's journey to redemption. After his miraculous recovery, David Michaels found himself lying in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. The world he had returned to felt different, smaller, quieter, and far less significant than the realm he had just glimpsed. The vision of Jesus, the golden city, and the countless souls singing in harmony replayed in his mind like a vivid dream. Yet, deep in his heart, David knew it was no dream. It was more real than anything he had ever experienced. David's family rushed to his side when they heard he had survived the heart attack. His wife, Karen, who had been praying fervently during his surgery, wept tears of joy. Their 2 teenage daughters clung to his hands, their faces pale with worry. David could see the relief and love in their eyes, but he also felt the weight of guilt. He had spent so many years neglecting his family, putting his career above their needs. That night, unable to sleep, David prayed for the first time in years. It was a simple prayer, filled with gratitude and a plea for guidance. Lord, thank you for giving me another chance. Please show me how to live the life you want for me. ##### the call to change. In the weeks following his recovery, David began noticing subtle yet powerful changes in himself. He no longer felt the same urgency to check his emails or attend every meeting. Instead, he was drawn to spending time with his family, reconnecting with old friends, and volunteering at his local church, a place he hadn't visited in over a decade. First, David was hesitant to share his near-death experience. He feared people might dismiss him as delusional or overly emotional due to his medical trauma. But the memory of Jesus' words, *, use the gifts I have given you to bring love, kindness, and faith to others, *, kept echoing in his mind. One Sunday morning, during a church service, David stood up and asked the pastor if he could share his testimony. The congregation fell silent as he recounted his journey. The pain of the heart attack, the moment his soul left his body, the vision of Jesus, and the extraordinary beauty of heaven. David ended his story with tears streaming down his face. I wasted so much of my life chasing things that don't matter, but Jesus, in His infinite mercy, gave me a second chance. I'm here to tell you, heaven is real, His love is real, and it's never too late to turn your life around. The mission begins. Word of David's testimony spread quickly, and soon, he was invited to speak at other churches, schools, and community events. People were captivated by his story, not just because of its miraculous nature, but because of the profound humility and sincerity with which he shared it. One evening, After speaking at a local event, an elderly man approached David with tears in his eyes. "I've been angry at God for years," the man confessed. "But hearing your story, it's made me realize how much I need him. Thank you for giving me hope." Encounters like this became frequent, and David knew that God was using his story to touch the hearts of others. Visions and dreams. As David grew deeper in his faith, he began experiencing vivid dreams and visions. In one dream, he saw a field of people crying out for help, their faces filled with despair. Jesus appeared beside him and said, "These are the ones who are lost. Go to them." David interpreted the dream as a call to expand his mission. He started a nonprofit organization called the Path of Light, dedicated to helping those in need, whether it was the homeless, the addicted, or those struggling with depression and loneliness. Through this organization, David and his team provided food, counseling, and spiritual guidance to thousands of people. Challenges along the way. David's newfound purpose wasn't without challenges. Some of his old business associates mocked him, calling his transformation a midlife crisis. Financial difficulties arose as he poured his resources into the nonprofit. There were even moments when David questioned whether he had misunderstood God's calling. During one particularly tough night, David prayed fervently for reassurance. As he drifted off to sleep, he dreamed of the Golden City once more. This time, he saw Jesus standing at the gates, smiling at him. "Do not grow weary in doing good," Jesus said. "Your reward is not in this world, but in the next." When David awoke, he felt an overwhelming sense of peace and determination. The ripple effect. Over time, David's story began to inspire others to share their own faith journeys. People from all walks of life, atheists, agnostics, and believers alike reached out to him, seeking advice, prayer, or simply a listening ear. His testimony sparked a movement of sorts, encouraging countless individuals to reevaluate their priorities and seek a deeper connection with God. David's family also underwent a transformation. His wife, Karen, became an active supporter of the nonprofit, helping organize events and fundraisers. Their daughters, inspired by their father's courage and faith, began leading Bible study groups at their school, a legacy of faith. Years later, David reflected on his journey during a quiet moment of prayer. He thought about how different his life had become since that fateful day in the hospital. The once ambitious businessman, who had chased fleeting success, was now a humble servant of God, dedicating his life to spreading love and hope. David often said, "If I had stayed on the path I was on, I would have lost everything that truly matters. But Jesus, in his mercy, showed me a better way. I'm not perfect, but I know I'm walking in his light." David's story continues to resonate with thousands, reminding us all of the power of grace, redemption, and the eternal love of Jesus Christ.